1968 and 1969, 5 people were brutally murdered at the hands of an anonymous killer. This mysterious man was called the Zodiac Killer. He claims to have killed 37, but only 5 kills and 2 attacks were confirmed. I decided to choose this topic because until recently, I was interested in forensics. I wanted to be a forensic psychologist or profiler for the FBI. In my spare time, I love to research true crime stories and learn about the psychology of the killer and why they did the crimes that they did. My uncle used to work with the FBI on a case just like this one. He was a detective for his county, and as a child, I wanted to follow in his footsteps. How many of you could say that you have heard of the Zodiac Killer? Most of you have heard of him, but I'm sure that you don't know the full story. Well, let me tell you, it's a doozy. The Zodiac Killer was a very mysterious man that committed a series of murders, and I think that we need to solve this case once and for all. In my speech, I'm going to discuss who the Zodiac Killer is, the timeline of his murder spree, and why his identity is still unknown today. To begin with the story of the man of the night, the Zodiac Killer, and the anonymous killer. The Zodiac Killer was one of the most infamous killers in the U.S. known to man. After each of his kills, he sent a letter to the press to gain notoriety and to get more media coverage. He really liked media coverage. He would taunt the public about how he hasn't been caught, and he would say things such as, "I thought you could use a good laugh before you hear the bad news," before addressing the fact that he killed another victim. He would laugh at all of the victims and their families and just be really disrespectful. The man got his name from the way that he signed his name. Like that. And also this right here. He said that he didn't like the name that the media gave him in the first place, so he gave himself the name, the Zodiac Killer. After that letter, he started signing his name with a circle with a crosshair drawn through it, just like this one. Unfortunately, there are some sick-minded people, and during that time that the Zodiac Killer was going on his rampage, people would send in fake letters to get media coverage, and it would throw the whole investigation off. And they would lie to the media to get attention. Now, to the juicy part of the story. This is the timeline. We have 4 known dates that all of his crimes have happened. There were 7 victims in all, and only 5 of them passed away. He still says that he killed 37, but we don't know that for sure. This is David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen. According to Michael Butterfield, the writer from the History Channel website, which was last updated on September 1st, 2018, the killings all started on December 20th, 1968, when 2 teenagers were viciously attacked when parked at a lover's lane on their first date in Benicia, California. These victims were 17-year-old David Faraday and 16-year-old Betty Lou Jensen. Unfortunately, both of them were killed that night. July 5th, 1969 was the day of the second attack. 22-year-old Darlene Farron and 19-year-old Mike McGow were ambushed while sitting in their car at Blue Rock Springs Golf Club in Vallejo, California. Both victims were shot multiple times in the attack. Farron was killed, but McGow was not. 22-year-old Cecilia Shepard and 20-year-old Brian Hartnell were having a picnic at Lake Mauricia in Napa County on September 27, 1969. Unfortunately, their picnic took a turn for the worst when a man that bore the symbol of 2 intersecting lines in a circle threatened the pair with a gun, tied them up, and stabbed them. Shepard was killed, but Hartnell survived. The last confirmed killing happened on October 11, 1969. 29-year-old Paul Stein was a taxi driver for the San Francisco area. The Zodiac Killer got into the back of his taxi cab and shot him multiple times, killing him instantly. You would think that after so many simultaneous brutal murders, they would find somebody, but unfortunately, that's not the case. The Zodiac Killer still remains anonymous, And after the last confirmed kill, the killer went dormant. He stopped writing letters to the press, and we haven't heard from him since. This is the sketch that the victims that survived gave the police. He was wearing kind of like a robe on top of him that bore the Zodiac symbol whenever he attacked them, whenever he tied them up and stabbed them. This is the description of the face of the other victim that was shot, and they actually saw his face where his face didn't have a covering. There's still so many theories about who the killer is. There's even a theory that the Zodiac killer was actually a woman. Now, it's the year 2020. We're not even completely sure that the man is still alive. Even though it's 50 years later, people are still searching for the man, following up on leads, repeatedly going over past evidence, testing the past evidence for DNA, and more. Unfortunately, nothing has ever come from these searches. Will we ever find the man behind these terrible murders? According to, give me 1 second. Maybe. Here it is. According to Sarah Kettler, a writer for the biography website, last updated on September 20th, 2020, the Zodiac killer has claimed to kill 37 people, and only 5 kills and 2 attacks were confirmed. Oh my goodness gracious, my numbers are all kind of messed up. The Zodiac killer was one of the most infamous killers ever known to man. His killing spree was heavily in the eye of the media, and he ate up every second of it. He sent letters to the media, and that's where he gained his name. He killed 5 people, and yet his identity is still unknown. I wanted to talk about this topic because I believe that this story needs to have more media coverage. 5 people's murders remain unsolved, and their families have no closure due to him not being found. It's up to you, the audience, to take my speech into consideration and help bring light to these 5 unsolved murders. Have you seen this man?